picture this. You are on a journey now to becoming the person you know you were born to be, to making the scale of impact that your heart actually yearns to make, and more than that, to really soak up the experiences that life has waiting for you because you allow it in now. But on your way in this journey, I'll just breathe that in for a second, shall we? And imagine you're riding your bicycle. I want to ride my bicycle. Ooh, that was on key. You're riding your bicycle, abba jabba jabba jabba. And you're riding your bicycle, but then something happens. You hear and there starts to be this leak and this puncture, and you start to hear the air go. And suddenly, the same journey feels harder. It feels like it's more shaky and more jerky. And it even becomes more dangerous as you start to wobble and pobble and fall and crawl. And then what happens? Eventually you start getting tired. And you start feeling heavy. And as you go deeper and deeper into the spiral now, it's almost like you stop relaxing. Because you're just pushing and pushing and pushing. And even though you're on the right path, and even though you're in the right vehicle, and even though you know where you're going, and you at least know the next step or the next cycle, somehow you're still held back. And it's not by something you're doing, and it's not by something you're not doing either, so it's not your fault. All it is the leak. Sound familiar? I know it does for me. Hello, my friend, and I'm so glad we're having this conversation together at Grace-Led Leaders, the home for multi-passionate entrepreneurs who want to come together, who want to have fun and connect, and together we scale our sales and we deepen our grace. Imagine if grace, the love of a higher power, whatever your favorite conceptualization of the higher power is. Imagine grace is trying to shower us with her love, with his love, with their love, with its love, the love of a higher power. Imagine it showering. But then, in this cup, there's a hole, and it goes shoo, 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 shoo. How much of that love are we leaking? In fact, as we were getting ready for this, Brian, the beautiful man behind the camera, he found this thread. He found this thread in my shirt. And it was in a place that I couldn't even see. Oh, ba. And you can imagine that this thread would have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and maybe even would have, maybe it even would have hooked onto something and it would have torn. And without me even realizing, it would have caused the unraveling of this beautiful garment that my father gifted me. And it's fascinating how little things can take our attention without us knowing it. So for example, this hat, I actually picked up this hat for free at an event in Dubai, right? But I'm also conscious because I don't want to be associated with the brand because I don't know enough about it to put my name next to it. And so I also really feel comfortable with the hat. And so there's a leak, there's an energy leak for me of attention, being like, how do I wear this hat in a way where you can't see the logo? Because I haven't done my due diligence on the brand. So maybe I'll just put it backwards. And then I prefer it the way it looks forward. Oh, maybe I'll get one of those like cool duct tapes. Do you have duct tape, Brian? Do you have like the thick tape? Not now, but in general. Yeah. Maybe we can put it on the logo and that'd be cool. Then people will be like, what is it, you know? And one day we'll come up with our own hats. People are like, ah. So do you see how these small things were taking away my attention from this conversation? And so what's interesting is so many people are like, how do I add more? How do I, add more complexity and more layers and grow this way and put this layers on top of it? But sometimes it's, as corny as it sounds, I actually really enjoy eating corn, so screw it. Less is more. Less is more. And so today's conversation, my friend, is all about how do you create more energy in your life, energy in your projects, and progress with doing less. Yep, that is an accurate description of what we'll be talking about today. And the way I came to realize this was actually twofold. The first was I was having a conversation with my friend Eri yesterday, and she said, isn't it interesting how we make up in our brain that we have to do all these things to get a certain result? For example, I was like, I know how to land more podcast bookings and speak on more podcasts. Also, if you happen to host a podcast, I'd love to enter a conversation about exploring if it's the right fit for us to jam out on your podcast. Side note, so I used to teach people how to do this, right? So I know how to do it, and I'm like, I don't want to do it myself anymore. And so I was like, either my option A is I pay an agency like a couple of grand a month to make it happen, or I do it myself. And 2 days ago, I realized, it's actually a lot more efficient to engage somebody as an individual contractor to make this happen. And they're called podcast booking agents, not agencies, but specific agents. And I'm like, oh wow, it's so much more efficient. It feels like it'll be faster and I'll get a better result. I was like, wow, that's interesting. Number two is I realized how much more efficiently my business could run. I mean, to the tune of 50% less outgoings to achieve a very similar result. That's the hypothesis anyway, but still I was like, 50% less outgoings, that's wild. At this stage and scale. Fascinating, isn't it? And then more than that, I was doing a reflection exercise and I was like, actually Roscoe, a friend of mine, was like, bro, don't type it, just record it and get it transcribed. There were all these friction points that didn't need to be there. Similarly, I find myself in romance, and you can tell I'm actually more excited about this one right now, is, I find myself like calling in my wifey. As you know, I've started hearing from my daughter from the other realm, and she's been talking to me. And what's fascinating is like, I notice myself having these open loops, these open tabs. Like you can imagine like a Google Chrome browser or an internet browser, you have like an open tab, right? And it's all taking energy. It's all taking from the energy from the battery. And so I have all these open tabs with different people. And some of these tabs are more recent, some of these tabs are like a lot older. And there's still some felt sense there of non-closure, like there could be something there, or there's remnants of a romance there. Remnants of a romance, what a beautiful term. Rawr. There's this remnant of a romance, right? And whilst that's beautiful, I see the beauty in it. There's this sentimentality, there's this yearning, there's this Did you feel that last bit? The wasn't exactly the same, but you get the gist. The gist is that felt like it was tucked into bed. And so I had all these different like energy places where my energy was going, consciously, subconsciously, and part of it's giddy, part of it's excited, like, ooh, I don't know what will happen there, ooh, ah, ee, chiki, ah. And I felt like there was this deeper sense of maturity that came through me when I was like, hey, this needs to be put to bed. This needs to be, not in like a raunchy way, wow, but this needs to be tucked in. And I get it. There are people who are polyamorous, there are people who love the, what did RAW stand for? I can't remember, but you know, the remnants of romance, right? People love that, and that's cool. And what I found right now in this season, what is important to me, look at all those disclaimers for me, in case I change my mind one day, lol. Highly likely, eh? Life. Anyways, what I found is that my energy was being entangled and caught up in all these different things, but really what I wanted was this clear, focused space. And so every day, God is bringing to my attention, hey, you know, this person, there's something there. How can you put it to bed? Tuck it into bed is a lovely way to put it, you know? And whether that's calling someone sister or friend or something like this, or just making it clear. Making it clear. And there might not actually, I take that back. Yeah, just making it clear. And it can be hard because, you know, yes, this was the sentence with a friend of mine. It said, it can take guts to close something, especially when there were moments of closeness. There were moments of this juicy depth, this juicy intimacy, this moments of, whether it was physical, emotional, whatever it was, there was this, you know, this, And when there's that moment of it can almost be like, I could bathe in this elixir, I could bathe in this poetry, I could bathe in this nectar, oh God, for infinity. I could blow a kiss to send her on her way. I could allow her energetic head on my chest to lay. Perhaps I need not say a word. Perhaps my wanting for closure is a bit absurd. Perhaps I could not be such a turd, but rather I could be. How did you feel when I had that silence? Rather, I could be. Was a part of you holding on that there would be some sort of resoluteness? That there would be a resoluteness? That there'd be. It's like, do I need another example? No, but do I want one? No, that's fine. You understand what I mean, right? It's like when you watch a movie, there's this love for a closeness. I loved the Joker movies, oh my goshy, the most recent ones, with Lady Gaga in them, and then the one before that, Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin likes the jalapeno. Hello, my name is Joaquin. I like the jalapeno. Very nice. Wow, hello, my name is Borat. Every time I meet a person from Kazakhstan, I want to say it, but I don't. I'm like, okay. So cheeky. It's like when somebody says Apu to me, I hate it. So yeah, part of me loves this like open looped, this unclosured, this maybe sort of energy, especially with a woman, right? And I'm like, oh, how do I bring my energy back? How do I bring my energy back? How do I recall my energy into my physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, energetic bodies now? Bring your energy back so that you can focus it where you want to. And so that's a romantic setting. Now for you, my friend, it's where is this relevant in your mission? Where is this relevant in your business? Where is this relevant in your art? Is there a conversation that needs to be had where perhaps it's being avoided? Is there an agreement that needs to be revisited and re-evolved? Is there a season which has come to an end and you're not letting that go? Is there something that feels like it's draining your energy and you know deep down it needs to be visited, but it's not happening? Where in your business is there a puncture in the tire? Where in your business is there a puncture in the tire? Because what happens is that when you reclaim this energy, then what happens is you're able to exponentially grow it, you're able to scale it, you're able to amplify it, and people can feel this magnetism, people can feel this energy, people can feel this prana, this life force energy, this chi, this energy from you. You can feel this magnetism, and what it is that it's your heart reclaiming its sovereignty, it's reclaiming its power, and then people can feel the power, and then they want to be part of that power, and then they feel like, how do I enter this person's world, their vortex, their orbit, their space, their ecosystem? How do we make this happen? Make sense? And so many people are always like, how do I add more? How do I add more? How do I tap into more grace? And that's so beautiful. And there's a time for expansion, and there's also a time for refinement. And refinement, my friend, is a lot more subtle. It's a lot more nuanced. It's less about how do I put on a whole new outfit, and it's more about how do I find where the threads are a bit leaky. What would it do to your peace of mind? What would it do to your focus? What would it do to your productivity? How much time would it save you? How much money would it make you? How much more joy would it bring to your business? How much more spaciousness would it give you? How much more spaciousness would it give you? How much more would it allow you to be present with the people you love? How much more would it allow you to forward your mission? And ultimately, who would you become when you're able to reclaim your energy and you be in charge of where it's invested, and how much sweeter would the fruits of your labor sweeten? There's one more thing I want to say. It's coming now. Are you sure? Yeah. So this is what I want to say. There's also a compassionate way to close these loops. Because remember, there's a compassionate way to draw back this energy. There's a compassionate way to refine your focus. There's a compassionate way, because remember, there was a time where you shared depth with this person. You shared love with this person, whether it's romantically, as friends, in a project, right? In business, a partnership, whatever it might be. There was a time where you were both bathing in a tub of love. Very rarely have I burnt a bridge like that. What if we stopped calling it burning a bridge, and instead we looked at it like tucking someone into their bed? How can you do it lovingly, compassionately? So to make this even more practical, there are 3 ingredients that come to my mind actually. Number 1 is really honoring the experience that you've had together. Really honoring it. And you could sometimes it's like an explicit conversation. Other times, I just say thank you. I just close my eyes. I say, God, thank you so much for the experience you gifted me with this person. Ingredient number 1. And the question with that is, now, where can you experience more thankfulness for people, for people. Where can you experience more thankfulness for people is question number 1. Question number 2, and ingredient number 2, about tucking someone into their own bed, is clarity. Clarity. My friend Christopher, he talks about kindness versus niceness, and this is just being clear about what you're available for. So with these females, I would say the word sister intentionally, because you're not getting spicy with your sister. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I have to say about that. So, well, at least, yeah, I'm not getting spicy with my sister. So, yeah. I think that's what I would say about that. So number 1 is thankfulness. Number 2 is clarity. And you don't have to say, hey, I no longer think of you in a romantic setting. Make sense? The second is you can just convey in an elegant way, calling them sister. So can we think of a business example? Yeah. So for example, I ended a consulting agency, agreement, a mentorship agreement, I should say, a while ago. And this is how I said it. Is my phone here? No, it's okay. Hey, blah, 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 blah. I feel like an evolution, yes, of our working relationship is upon us. And there's a completion of our current relationship as mentor and mentee, and more of a transition into the biggest focus as strategic referral partners. It wasn't exactly like that, but can you see that I was clear that, hey, I feel there's a closing of this and there's an opening of this that I would like to explore. Am I bullshitting myself? No. So what am I feeling? I'm feeling uncomfortable. That's right, because this is the third ingredient, which is the third ingredient is sometimes it doesn't feel nice to close these chapters. Sometimes it doesn't feel nice to close this sort of container, a container being like a season, an engagement, an experience. It doesn't feel great in the moment always. Sometimes it does. Maybe you feel quite comfortable doing it like that. But I know for me, it's like, there was something there. It was so important. And sometimes I felt like we'd be connected forever in a close proximity. You know? And so you're leaning into the, okay. And it's a practice. It's a practice. A practice of being able to lean in more, of it taking less time, of it having less debris, you could say. Or, no, debris is not the right, debris or residue of romance. That was the word, right? Did you track that? It was like the heightened moment of the romance, whether it's a personal or like the romance of life, the romance of business. Bonjour, madame. Bonsoir, monsieur. Hi. It's like the height, and then the hi. This is the calibration that, hey, the peak has sort of passed and now it's like this lingering limerence. Is limerence the right word? Maybe not. There's this lingering feeling of, it's an open tab feeling. Hey, like, oh, okay. This energy is spent holding it up, or not holding up, but it's holding up the right word. This energy is being spent keeping the tab open. Hi, and then come, let's tuck them into bed. Hi. Sonja. Sonja means sleep in Punjabi. Sonja. That's it. And please remember, my friend, to also tuck your own heart into bed. To practice grace, to practice compassion, to practice patience, to practice love with yourself. Because it's not always easy to close tabs, especially when you had a moment of deep connection, right? Uppy jump, 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 jump. Ooh, this is exciting. Right now my limit has been like 2 episodes a day, but I feel, Brian, there's 1 more episode coming through today. So we're gonna have a lot of fun. And yeah, you know the drill. If you share this, it'd be really awesome. So thank you. Mwah.